chooks and I keep chooks. I have a few in my yard, around about 50 or 100, not sure. Yeah. This week my family's been cursing me because they're looking after chooks while I'm over here. And they say, well, you get to go to Maggie Beers and you get to go to Adelaide and we're here looking after chooks, so I owe them. I'm taking home some lovely Maggie Beer jams and things home with me, so yeah. When you're breeding chooks, you are looking for that perfect chook. And when you show them, you've got to make sure that it is right all over. So you've got to have the right shaped body, and there's Australian standards that you have to breed to. So you breed the standard, and you look at your chooks, and you pick out the right rooster and the right hen to pair up together to hopefully breed that perfect chook. And the idea is you want to win the bird of the show. And that's fairly hard to do because you first of all have to win the best of your variety. Then you win the best of your class. Might be soft feather, hard feather, heavy bantams, natural bantams, etc. So you have to win the best of your class. And you've got just all the other first prizes from all the other classes. And then you go up for the best hard feather or best soft feather class. Then you put the hard feather against the soft feather. And you breed, and they judge the best bird of the show. And to win the best bird of the show, there's not a lot of money in it, but it's a pride of breeding that best bird. So all year, you are looking for the best bird. Has to have the right shaped body. It has to have the right length of neck, and it has to have the right shaped head. Whoops, it's come apart. Maybe I give up on this one. Do I give up, boys and girls? No, don't give up. Okay, I'll keep trying then. I'll tie it back together, and sometimes you do it with your chooks. You've got to get them back on the rope and they get sick, and when they're having those molts, etc. they go through, you've got to sort of work with them to get them through the molts and get them back into good feather, ready for the show. And Mildura, the show was always in October. They always bring towards that. So you get the right shaped neck and the right shaped head and the right coloured beak, and yeah, you are hopefully looking at getting the right chook. Even down to the comb. You've got to have the right shaped comb and the right number of serrations on that comb. And they've got to be even. So even imperfect, slightly blemish on the comb where one extra point or something comes off it, then that chook can't be shown. It's got to be perfect. And right down to the legs. You need to make sure the legs are the right colour. Some chooks have blue legs, some chooks have grey legs, some chooks have a deep, dark, almost orange leg. And you learn the secrets to the trade. You've got to make sure that if they're yellow legs, you feed them corn and kikuyu grass and carrot, which makes their legs go that nice dark colour. And all year, you are working on making sure you have that perfect chook. Somewhere I put my texter. Was it over there? No? Oh, I dig in here, I might be able to find one in here. Just want to do the trick. Right down to even, making sure they have the right coloured eyes. If the eyes are not the right colour, then they don't make the grade as well. And hopefully, one day, you make it. And you breed that perfect chook, and you're at the show, and it goes right up to the top, and the judges will get together, and they're looking at your chook, and they're counting even the feathers on their wings, etc. And hopefully, one day, you win the prize. I remember one day when I was at college, and I was talking to Dad about chooks, and it was during show time, so I took my girlfriend home to meet my family, and it was the Mildura show, and as we arrived in the chook shed, that's where Dad was, Dad had won bird of the show. Bird of Mildura show with a lovely little silver sea bright hen. And after all his years of breeding, he felt he had made it. And so that's why you breed chooks, for the love of chooks, and for showing chooks, and for just being with chook people. Chook people are different people, I found. Here is the thing, I belong to the Central Coast Poultry Club, and I'm not just a pastor there. I mean, I'm just Daron, but they know who I am. And so here's the funny thing is that they know I'm over here because they're on Facebook and they're watching what I do. They know where I go, they know what I do, where I am, and they comment on my posts on Facebook. But the other day we were travelling down to the show with some of my mates there, and Warwick's our president, about 85, 86, and he said, Daron, when I go, I want you to do my funeral. I said, well, I hope that's a few more years yet. He said, no, I said, I've watched you over the years and I think you'll do a good job. He said, don't make me do a saint, just be real. And yeah, I said, well, I'll be honoured. And then the guy next door, the secretary, said, well, when I go, you better do me too. So these guys booked me to do their funerals, and yeah, they know who I am and know what I do. It turns out Warwick's wife was brought up an Adventist. And so he knows what I am and what I do. He was a police detective in his years, and yeah, it's just great to be there, to just be who you are and to live what you know. They know I don't put chooks into shows on Saturday, and so our club show is on a Sunday, so that I can show. So yeah, they respect who I am, what I do, and I respect them, and yeah, they're great mentors of mine even now. Who do I give the chook to? Who hasn't had a balloon yet in the tent here? Ah, down the back there. So you need a balloon. You have the chook. Speaking of chooks, on this day, this was a few years ago, I had bred my first lot of jungle fowl. I say that jungle fowl were the chooks that were on the ark, and all the chooks that you see today have descended from the jungle fowl. They're a lovely, colourful bird, and I've always loved them. I've got this pair of them, and I've bred them, and she had hatched out 5 chickens. And they were beautiful, brown, and they blended into the jungle, as jungle fowl do, and yeah, I thought they were pretty special, so I kept them in their cage until the day came when the bright sun came out. I thought, today's the day. I let her out onto the lawn. Chickens do best out on the lawn with their mum and dad, and they were out there wandering around. In the meanwhile, I drove from the lake where I lived at the time into Cooranbong, where Grandma Pascoe lived, and she was getting older, and I used to go in there and do her veggie garden. So this day I was tying up tomatoes for her and weeding up and down the rows and just doing things that Grandma wanted. When the phone rang, Lisa said, you better come home. There's been a storm out here. Looked up in the sky. I'm only about 10 kilometres away. There's no storm. It's bright and clear and sunny. Oh, there's a tower up there. No, something like that. It's bright and clear and sunny. And so, yeah, I kept on weeding down the next row and weeding up the next row and doing things I needed to do when the phone rang again and said, Daron, you better come home. It's a mess out here. There's been a storm, a huge storm. Well, I thought, happy wife, happy life, so I hopped in the car and drove home. And as I drove out closer to the lake, I realised there had been a freak storm cell that had hit around Lake Macquarie, and trees were down, got closer, and water everywhere, and I realised that my wife was correct, that this was not good. And as I drove around the hill down towards my where we lived, there was water running down the hill, and it was like a waterfall, and when I got to my house was sitting there. There was water running like a torrent around each side of it, and meeting at the front, and running over the front yard, and like a waterfall over the front into the gutter. And I drove my driveway and parked, and remembered one thing. My jungle fowl and those 5 chickens. They're up the back there somewhere in the storm. So I got out of the car and went to the shed and got my gumboots and sloshed up the side of the house, and the water was running like a foot deep, running down the side of the house. I sloshed through there, sloshed up the back and looked. My backyard was like, it was in 3 tiers, and I had a 3-tiered waterfall. Everybody's water from around was running through my yard. Those poor chickens. I grabbed the corn tin and rattled it and called, here, chook, 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 chook. Rattled it and listened, and I heard her. She was up there in the gum tree, and she was clucking, but no chickens. She'd lost her chickens. I sloshed through the yard and looked around, and no hope. I'd lost those 5 perfect little babies. As I was going near the chook house, I kicked at a pile of rubbish, and I saw it. I knocked down that rubbish and pulled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 baby dead chickens. They had obviously not been able to survive the torrent, and they'd been washed into all that rubbish, and so I put them into the box, and I took it up top of the yard where I could find a spare spot, and I dug a hole, and I was just so upset. I thought, what have I done? And just so sad, and knelt down and put those 5 chickens into the hole, and picked up the spade and picked up the dirt and tapped my shoulder. It was Lisa. What are you doing, Daron? Well, my chickens. I left them out the back this morning, and the storm's come through and they're gone. And then she said something crazy. She said, don't give up on them. I said, Lisa, I'm a chook man. I grew up a chook man. And I know a dead chook when I see one, and these chooks are dead, and the only place for me to do is to finish it off. And she said, no, don't give up. And she picked up a box and she said, here, put them in the box. I said, no. I said, you put chickens in the ground and you bury them. No, put them in the box. So I pulled those 5 dead chickens, and there they are, they're dead. Put them into the box, and she said, don't give up, Daron, don't give up. And I followed her, and she carried those chooks down to the house, past the kitchen, and I was starting to think, I said, Lisa, what are you doing? You don't take them inside, they're dead. They're dead. She said, don't give up. Went down to the bathroom, she picked up the hairdryer, and I'm thinking, now she's really lost it. And she picks up the hairdryer, she begins to slowly pass it over those 5 dead chickens. Said, Lisa, there are faster ways to cook them if you want to cook them. And she said, don't give up. And she kept on waving that hairdryer for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes over these chickens. As I watched, I kid you not, I saw one leg went, wow. And then another one. And then a wing, and then an eye opened, and after another 10 minutes of waving that hairdryer over the chickens, they all stood up and began to walk around and began cheeping for their mother. And I took those chickens out, called the mother hen down, and she took her chickens back under her wings. I had given up on those chickens, but Lisa hadn't. And apparently she watched a show somewhere on TV where chickens can get snap frozen and in the snow, etc. And God's made them to shut down, and as soon as it warms up, they get going again. And she thought maybe it would work with these ones, and it did. All 5. It taught me something. I'd given up. I thought I knew that they were gone. But boys and girls, mums and dads, want to remember one thing. If you don't remember anything I've said or can't, remember this. God never, ever, ever gives up on you. Never, ever, ever gives up on you. No matter what happens in your life, no matter how far you think you've gone from God, no matter what happens today, tomorrow, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 15 years' time, 20 years' time, God never, ever, ever gives up on you. If you want another chook story, Tom, one more chook story? Yeah. This is another story, happened in the same house, and we had, I kept Silky Bantams. Silkies are the poodles of the chook world. They have a lovely big pom on their head, which is lovely and furry. They don't really have fur, but they have fur. They have a lovely furry body, fur down their feet, fur around the tail, and Silkies are beautiful. I always have a few Silkies because they make the best mothers to hatch out your chickens. And when you're breeding show poultry, the best way, not an incubator, there's always the best healthy chickens are under a mother hen. So I try and breed mothers just to rear my good show chickens. Anyway, this day, we had, well, I called the chickens in and she didn't come. Rainbow, I called her. She was missing. She was rainbow because at Adventure Camporee we had dyed her feathers all different colours to go into the children's nursery display at Adventure Camporee. So I was in charge for some reason of the chook display and animal display at the Adventure Camporee. So we had this rainbow and she was missing. And next day she was missing. Next day the Pascoe family were all going to Fiji. Once every 3 or 4 years we all go, the whole 20 of us. We all go out to Fiji and we spend time having a holiday. We go and do some sort of service somewhere around Fiji and together as a Pascoe family. And so we went to Fiji. Rainbow could not be found. A fox, feral cat, she's gone. Well, we had fun in Fiji for 2 whole weeks, and there was lots and lots of fun with the families at the resort, and then we went out to a village and we spent time there working with them and serving them and doing what we could to help them, and then we flew home. We arrived home, it had rained in Currambong, and when it rains in Currambong and you have kikuyu grass and it's warm and the kikuyu grass goes from there up to there, so my whole yard had turned into a jungle, and my wife said, Darren, the first thing we need to do is mow the lawn. I looked, said, this is not a lawnmower job, this is a whippersnipper job. So I grabbed that whippersnipper and over the front yard, knocked all the grass down, went through the garden. You don't weed the garden, you just carefully whippersnip it, trying to avoid the good plants, and you take out the bad, and that's the easy way to weed it when it's like that. So I went through the garden, did the front yard, went inside, got a lovely soft drink from the fridge, sat down and watched the cricket, and it was relaxing. As I said, Darren, there's still the backyard. Oh, the backyard. So I went out again, started whippersnipper, and I went through the first tier and knocked all the grass down, having fun, grass flying everywhere and laying it all down. And then the second tier and that garden, full of weeds. I'll just, again, whippersnipper around carefully, avoiding the good things and taking out all the weeds and across the garden. When I saw it, a shopping bag. You know those white shopping bags they've been in the sun for a while, they begin to disintegrate, and so when you hit with a whippersnipper, instant snowstorm everywhere, it just goes into pieces and flies everywhere. So I worked across and hit the shopping bag. It didn't go like a snowstorm. In fact, it looked like fur. This is interesting. What's that? So I hit it again, and more fur went flying, and there's something dead in my yard. Maybe it's a dead rabbit, or what is it? So I turned off the whippersnipper and knelt down in the grass and opened the grass and looked, and it looked dead. And then I realised something. You know that rainbow, the chook that I lost? I could see the faint dye marks. I've killed the chook! I've killed the chook! I couldn't see its head anywhere. and so I knelt down again and thought, oh no. And maybe she's died there when I went away. Maybe she died there, but she didn't smell like she'd been dead for a while, and I've killed her. And so I bent down and picked her up, and the head came out from under the wing. And she'd gone from that lovely pom to number one like I had shaved off her hair, and I had shaved off a strip right down her back, and a tail which went around like that has gone. I'd given her a haircut right across, and she was still very much alive and was not happy with me at all. I'd given her that haircut, and I realised I could have killed her. I could have killed her. But then when I bent down and picked her up, underneath was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brand new, just hatched out baby silky chickens. She had gone off somewhere to sit before I went to Fiji. And she sat there, despite the fact that I hit her once, then twice with whippersnipper. She did not move. She just put her head on her wing, and she was prepared to sit there and protect her babies no matter what. She cared for her babies. And when the enemy came in, Pastor Daron, who was whippersnipper, she sat there and she protected them. Boys and girls, that's what God does for us. The Bible says that Jesus weeps over Jerusalem and his children and says, oh, how I want to gather you together like a mother hen places her chickens under her wings. And he calls Jerusalem to him. Mums and dads, here's a challenge for you. God never gives up on us, and he never gives up on our children. Research says that even when our children wander away, if parents love them unconditionally and show grace and love to them, what they were brought up with, they will come back to, or they're more likely to come back to, if you love them unconditionally. This research is proving that. Parents that love, parents that keep attending church and going through the motions, living the Christian life, but loving unconditionally brings our children back. Never, ever, ever give up on God. Never, ever, ever give up on your children. God's story of love and grace and reconciliation and forgiveness is not over yet. It's not over yet. And he still has a story to tell in your family's life. Let's bow our heads. Loving Father in heaven, thank you for chooks. Thank you that you teach us about your love and your grace through nature, your second Bible. And we thank those two stories that teach us that you never, ever, ever give up on us. And we love you and we love our children. And we pause right now and pray for our children. Thank you for loving them. And for those of our children who've chosen to go a different path at the moment and wandered away, we weep at the altar for them. And we commit to loving them unconditionally and showing your love and your grace, and trust you to continue to tell your story of love and grace and reconciliation that you say that you will do. Thank that you are the God, the loving God, the just God, the gracious God. Give us a great day today. Though the rain's out there raining down, we can enjoy your word and your feast as we take today in our seminars and workshops and plenary sessions. Thank you that you have given us these speakers who can invest into our lives and show us your love through what they present. Thank you for South Australia and for this camp and for the administration and for what they do to provide this camp year after year after year. So bless us and fill us with your spirit, your grace today. May it shine out as we walk around this campground. Is it pray in thy name? Amen.